So let's go into your reading here. First of all, we have the Nine of Swords and the Hierophant. The Nine of Swords indicates a situation where there is a little bit of stress, strain, a little bit of worries and anxiety linked up with it. Okay, so I feel like for some of you, there might be a little bit of a money crunch coming through for this month. A lot of you might be in a work environment where they are potentially downsizing. These cards are coming out very early on in the spread. So what it indicates to me is these things have already happened in September. So don't worry about it, okay, if it hasn't happened to you. Because I feel like there's a little bit of like, they're downsizing. As a result, you're going to have to like work twice as hard. You're going to have to carry the extra burden, the extra workload that the other person, the person they let go, is no longer there to do the work. So you're carrying extra workload. There's a lot of overtime as well associated with this card. And this is a card about not getting enough sleep and kind of like being a little bit overworked. Okay, so I do feel that coming through for some of you. For others of you, there might be some contentions within the home environment as it relates to value system. Once again, the Hierophant deals with institutions. This can be major governmental institutions, or this can be like I feel like even like educational for some of you. Family is an institution, and I also feel like hospital, if there is somebody that in your environment who is recovering from some type of surgery, or it has been, you know, going through some type of drug trial or drug regimen. I definitely feel like there is a little bit cause of concern as it pertains to a family member, okay, who's not feeling at their best. They might be just having, you know, from any range of like mild fever, they're in the hospital, or, you know, recovering from surgery. So I feel like there's something within the home environment that's a source of contention for you. For others of you, and I feel this is what I was referring to at the very beginning, when I mentioned that you're in a relationship and that is no longer, you know, that you're no longer happy with. And I feel like the relationship itself is stable, but you're not really sure how you can proceed, and you're not really sure if it's worth investing more of your time in. So you're no longer happy. You're kind of thinking about other people. You're thinking about someone else. And the Hierophant is also the card of, this is your sign, the card of Taurus. So it basically means that, you know, taking control of a situation rather than ruminating over it and cycling through like worst case scenario. I do feel like getting yourself grounded for this month and seeking some type of spiritual advice from elderly members of the family, or even members of the clergy, or even like, you know, getting a second opinion from another doctor, for example, would be very, very instrumental for you to move forward. Because I feel like without the information, or without having access to all the information at your disposal, you're going to think about worst case scenario, and the situation itself is not all that bad, okay? So it's a reminder here that you've got some help, spiritual guidance that is trying to come through for you. And whoever you seek advice from is their spirit's going to speak through them in order to relay some important messages to steer you in the right direction, okay? So psychic energy, and I rarely say this for Taurus because it rarely comes out, but I feel like psychic energy coming through very, very strongly for this month, as well as heightened intuition. And I feel like what's happening in your environment is that the energy is very like bubbly. There's a little bit of conflict brewing in your external environment. There's things happening within the home and relationship and work. So pay attention very carefully to the signs this month, because I feel like for some of you, you might come across a snippet of information, and then later on you're interacting with another person and they bring up something related to that first topic, and I feel like that's going to really help you gain like the upper hand, okay? So I definitely feel a lot of spiritual, you know, insights are being tossed around throughout the month, and it's really important for you to try not to ruminate, not to worry too much, and try to live in the present moment so that you can absorb this information, so that you're a little bit more directed and grounded with your energy. The next two cards that are here is the Three of Pentacles as well as the Princess of Cups. So the Three of Pentacles indicates a work environment where you are collaborating with a lot of other people. And I feel like this is more work related, okay? The Pentacle suit indicates like work projects, things of material or even financial value. So I feel like you are going to be called upon to help other people, train other people, provide some type of technical knowledge or expertise in order to help other people do their work. I definitely feel a lot of you are in like upper management, middle management positions where you are directing other people where to go, what to do. And other people are really looking up to you, okay? For those of you who are just starting out, like entry level, there's a lot of potential here for you to shine in a work environment. And I feel like a lot of you are very methodical. Like when you absorb technical information, you know the ins and out of it. You're a lot like a Scorpio in some way. Your energy is very like concise. So I feel like that's going to be a big asset for you, okay? You don't just gloss things over. You actually take the time to learn the ins and out, and whatever expertise or knowledge that you display. So put yourself kind of like in center stage and show them how much you know, because I do feel that you're going to be received very well, and especially if you're just starting out in your position, that might be, you know, a good mark for you when you're up for like performance review or you're up for like promotions review, okay? So the energy here is about playing nice. Um, Even though you might be in a supervisory role and you're directing other people on what to do, I do sense that you're doing it in a way where, you know, it's not like you're looking down at other people. You're leveling out the playing field. And even though you might be the senior person and they're like the newbies, you still treat them with a lot of respect and with a lot of humility. And I feel like that's really going to win you over a lot of allies, okay? So the Three of Pentacles here is a card also as well about expansion of your craft. A lot of you are trying, if you are business owners, if you are working in a company, I do see a lot of expansion. So first of all, I mentioned here that there might be, you know, some type of reshuffling where they are laying off people. They're laying off the inefficient people. And in this instance, the work itself is being enhanced. So you're handling possibly, you know, twice the workload. So there's a lot of work coming through. It's busy energy. And it also indicates expansion, trying to expand into a different branch, trying to open up a new branch, trying to train new employees that are just coming through, okay? Or even getting new clients coming through and signing contracts. So like I said, the way that you carry yourself and you know, how diplomatic, how humble you are, it's going to be very instrumental in allowing you to win over new allies, new clients. They trust you. There's a great sense of like mutual rapport. There's friendship base. So, you know, no one is larger or no one is lesser than or more than the other person. So you're leveling out the playing field and you're treating everyone with the utmost respect. And I feel like people really, really appreciate you for that. Okay. You're very humble, down to earth, and you know, as an earth sign, that's what I heard, just very down to earth, and that's going to be one of your major assets for this month. So what's coming through here is the Page of Cups, and the Page of Cups is an offer. So this is somebody that is really appreciative of the work that you've done, the guidance that you've given them. And I feel that they're going to come to you and they're going to make it known. They're going to give you some feedback, and they're just going to be like, you know what? These are the things that you really helped me with. I really appreciate it. A lot of you might be dealing with a water sign, a Pisces, a Cancer, or a Scorpio. This can be in any type of setting, but I feel more like in the work environment where you might be training somebody. You're giving them a lot of technical information. They might have struggled through it at first, but then under your guidance, I feel like they're thriving as a result. Okay, so very, very good card. So the next cluster deals with your home situation. So once again, we have the Eight of Cups. It's home and marriage. So for some of you, the marriage situation here, this is something that might have been very, very stable at one point. It's stable, it's fun, it's exciting, but I feel like there might have been a lot of discord within the relationship. It feels almost to me as if it's not really, it seems to me like the relationship was very cosmetic. So I'm getting like the outer appearance, the way that you both together look to the outside world as a couple is very good. I feel that, you look good together as a couple, but behind the scenes, there were a lot of differences, just like glaring differences between you and another person. You might not see eye to eye, you might not have a lot in common, and I feel like the relationship seems to you at this point a little bit superficial. So you are looking for something more in depth. You are looking for something a little bit more profound and that stirs or speaks to you on a soul level. So you're trying to find the right person. You're trying to find the soulmate. So you are leaving some type of a living situation behind, or a relationship or a marriage behind, okay? Now, the Four of Wands here indicates, home situation or even a marriage type of a situation. Okay. It's a card about the ultimate stability in a relationship. And the way it's depicted on this card, everything is very, very glamorous, very extravagant. So I feel like you and your partner, once again, that whole issue about, who's spending what and how they're spending their money, that's a major source of contention, because you might not have the same spending habits, and that's creeping into the relationship. For some of you, you are physically walking away from this situation. You are moving home, or I don't feel so much moving home. That's more like the Ten of Wands. But I do feel like moving away from a relationship because it's no longer emotionally fulfilling for you. And you're doing this kind of begrudgingly, because I feel like the relationship was very stable. The other person is not a bad person at all. It's just you drifted apart and you might not have the same value system, okay? So you're moving on and you're trying to find, that perfect relationship for you. What I'm also feeling as well is for some of you, there might be, this is a card about slinking away in the dead of the night. So possibly sneaking away or sneaking out of a situation because you're tempted, you're pulled, compelled to a different person. So be very careful about this as it relates to you, because I feel like somebody is tempted by a situation, okay? Like somebody might be traveling a lot or working a lot and working the night shift, and they're never home. So their relationship partner doesn't know what's going on. So I feel like there's ample opportunities for temptation, the lure, to lure you away from a situation where you are committed. So just be really careful about that. The next cluster here deals with the Ten of Swords and the Seven of Wands. These are two major conflict cards, okay? So the Ten of Swords is a situation where actions and words that are very, very hurtful are thrown about within an argument. The Seven of Wands indicates an argument, and it feels almost as if one person is launching all the attacks and all the criticisms, and the other person has no choice but to defend themselves, and they're ill-equipped to defend themselves. So I feel like this is kind of like hitting a little bit below the belt. Like knowing how to push somebody's buttons and using everything in your arsenal to make them feel guilty, to really like take cheap shots at them. That's what I'm sensing. There's something happening in your environment here, and I feel like it deals heavily with communication. It deals heavily with value system, and it deals heavily with some type of a betrayal. Somebody that you really trusted, that you feel, I feel like for some of you, this has been a relationship. It's a relationship, and you're still married to this person, and you have been separated. And now this is the month in which you are actually, going to court or trying to settle a situation at a court to avoid, those, the fees. And you're not able to see eye to eye, and you're not able to reach any type of meaningful conclusion so that you can extract yourself. And I feel like there's a lot of hostility, a lot of like unfinished business between the two people. And as a result of it, when they come to the negotiating table, nothing is really done, nothing is really discussed, or the conversation doesn't get anywhere. I feel with the Hierophant coming out again, this is a situation where you're going to have to get a middleman, okay? You're going to have to like get somebody to mediate for you so that you're not talking over one another and that you stay on topic, because I feel like somebody's taking cheap shots here. What I'm also feeling is be ready. So, for example, if you are going through a settlement or a divorce and there's a child involved, I feel like, whoever's taking care of the child, there's something here about, 7 days of the week. One parent gets 4 days, the other one gets 3 days, and every week. Okay. And I feel like one parent wants like, I'll get the child this month, you get him or her next month. So, because it seems like the more sensible thing so that the child is not shuffled around throughout the weekday. And I feel like the other parent is just like concerned about money. So they're like, no, let's not do that. Let's do it this way. So the point here is I definitely see somebody is like not seeing the big picture, not fighting for like the common good, but rather for their own selfish ends. And I do sense because of it, you're kind of exposed to who, the person's true character. And it really does hurt, because I feel like you're trying to, put the child's needs first, and something like this came about, and it's just like a very problematic situation. I do feel things are going to be divided up like 4 days and 3 days. So 4 days with one parent, 3 days with another parent, rather than the monthly basis. Okay. And if you can fight for the monthly basis, I do feel it's going to be better for the child. So it's not too disruptive. Okay. And then you might not have to deal with the other parent as much if it's more on a monthly basis. So overall, that's a better way to go. Or at least, like bi-monthly, where someone gets the child for 2 weeks, or gets custody for 2 weeks, and then the other 2 weeks is with the other parent. So you want to minimize contact while maintaining a lot more stability for the child as much as you can, because I feel that's coming through. And if you're in court debating this, I feel like fighting for that angle would actually be a lot better for you guys, so that you're not constantly, having to interact with each other, like even throughout the week, because I do sense there's a lot of hostility, and there's a lot of like incompatibility overall. Okay. Now, in terms of your advice, we do have the Prince of Pentacles, and the Prince of Pentacles indicates a situation where somebody feels almost as if they have to give some money to another person, and they feel almost as if they didn't have to do this. So there's this indignant type of energy associated with this card. And what it's saying here is that you're like going to be in a situation where you're kind of like, you're like the first to offer up your resources, okay? Or somebody in your environment, I feel like you're going to be the first to offer up your resources. And then other people, they're a little bit less, I guess like they're not as generous. So then they're going to like squabble among themselves, or they're going to try to evade responsibilities, and they're not going to be able to contribute. So I definitely feel a situation possibly when it comes to like somebody who's in the hospital or something like that, and everyone is trying to pull in their resources, trying to contribute, and then the other people are just not cooperating. And at the end of it, I feel like you might have to do the whole thing on your own. And I feel that you're better off for it, mainly because waiting on them and, their false promises, it's going to be very problematic for you. On the other hand, I definitely feel here that we have a situation where there might be, a lot of you might be thinking about a new job environment. You might be handed a job. You might overhear about a job where you feel like it's a better way to go. So you are shifting away from like a main source of employment, or you're reducing the hours you're working, the 9 to 5, and you're shifting into, trying to work on a more client base with commission, rather than just working for yourself. I don't feel self-employment totally, but I do feel reducing hours, working more on a commission basis. And I feel like the money situation, it's a little bit of a competitive environment, because when you have to work on commission, you have to be very, very good at salesmanship. And you don't want to, I feel like if you are just starting this, you might not be as aggressive as the other people that have been in it for a long time. So you're starting out, and throughout this month, you're going to realize that they're quite aggressive. And then by the end of the month, I feel like some of you might be in a situation where you are reassessing, okay? But either way, reassessing whether or not this is the right fit for you. I feel that it has potential. It can grow a lot of money for you. But I do feel that your personality, I don't sense that you enjoy it. And you know, every Taurus is not the same. There are other things in your natal chart that will affect your personality. But what I feel is that you're a little bit happier when something is a little bit more predictable, consistent. So I feel like working in an environment where it's very cutthroat, where everyone is like talking over one another and it's highly, highly competitive, you might not thrive well. So by the end of the month, I feel like a lot of you are reassessing to see whether or not it's worth it. But I do feel like some major shifts coming through that's going to require you to assert yourself, to tell other people that, you know, here's where I stand and this is what I really believe in. And I do sense that it's going to be very beneficial for you to do that, because other people are relentless. So don't let them walk all over you. Pick a stance, stick to it, and I feel that it's going to pay off really well for you.